Hi and welcome to Raven Rebels. In this video we will create a web application, a fully working simple web application that is using Ravencoin. So we will show the full setup, how we run a full node, Ravencoin node. We set it up in server mode. We use Node.js to talk to the Ravencoin full node and listen to events. Our Node.js server will update Google Firebase when something happens. We will create the web application that is listening to events from Google Firebase and present it on a simple web page. So this full node is located in Europe, Sweden, Stockholm, and we will use Google Firebase in Belgium. And Ravencoin is Ravencoin, so it's out in cyberspace because crypto is cloud computing on steroids, whereas Google Firebase is centralized service we use. But Ravencoin is of course fully decentralized. So the full node, the full Ravencoin node that we have in the living room running in a computer, is behind multiple firewalls. So no user will talk to our full node. Well, other nodes of course, but so all the communication from the web app that we're building will go via Google Firebase. That means that we can have multiple Ravencoin full nodes. The full node could be running in Tokyo, in Stockholm, New York, wherever. So no one is touching our Ravencoin full node. Everyone is using the website using Firebase. So let's get started. First off, we have our Ravencoin wallet running. Of course, we have downloaded it from. There is a link on ravencoin.org. You go to wallets and you find the wallet. In our case, we're running Windows, but this for Mac and Linux as well. And it's up and running. It takes a while to download and to synchronize the blockchain. And when you have done that, you can go to Options and open configuration file. And here you see the username and password for our RPC user. This will of course be changed after this video. Anyway, you see that we have set up the server to be set it in server mode. We whitelisted so only the local computer can communicate with it. These ones are important. We index transactions, addresses and assets and stuff. And later on we will use these two things, wallet notify and block notify, because the Ravencoin wallet can execute scripts when stuff happens. So block notifies is every time your full node gets a new block from the network, which is like once per minute. This whatever script you write here will be executed. Wallet notify is when something happens in your wallet. So these are the settings we're using for the Ravencoin wallet. It's so cool that this is really a server that's running. It's great piece of software. Okay, so now we head over to our command prompt, and we have a demo app directory. So what will we do? Well, we start with we can start with the server part. We will use Node.js to talk to our Ravencoin wallet. So let's create a directory called server. We're going to server npm init-y. npm init-y will initialize a npm package with default settings. Ready. We will now use npm install Axios. It's a package for doing network stuff. There we go. So now we have a package.json file, a node file, and no code. So let's create some stuff. Console.log Elvis. Okay, it's running. And we will be using Visual Studio Code, which is also free. I can mention that the Ravencoin wallet is free. Everything that we're using right now is free. It costs nothing. Even Google Firebase will be free. So now we have Visual Studio opened with our little Elvis stuff. Now we want to talk to the wallet. How do we do that? Well, we go to github.com/ravenrebels because we already have some fancy code in our on GitHub. We have 2 examples right now, and we see that we can take this one. From in our first example on Ravencoin by example, we actually have a script that does something, and let's use that one. So we can take raw, we copy it, we paste it in, and this is a bit fancy because it does some lookups to get a configuration file, to get the username and password. We should just hard code the username and password for this example. There's no need to do this fancy stuff. But so we can say that what we should do is, let's say we make an app where we just check what assets we have. This is also great. In the wallet you can go to help, debug, and console, and here you can write all the commands you can imagine. If you don't know what commands you can use, just type help and it will list all the stuff you can do. There's so much you can do. Just take a cup of black coffee and start reading. In our case, we will use a command which is called list my assets, and then we can see that to use this one, the first argument should be the asset and some other stuff, and you can see here how you should invoke it if you use curl. So there's no params, it's just list my assets. So you can just do list my assets, and you can see, ooh, I have 50 beer tokens. Okay, let's list beer tokens. We go back to our server and we see that this config object should probably contain asset beer token. We'll get rid of this shit. We don't need it. And we see that we should have username and password. So let's add username and password. What the fuck did I do? Okay, sorry. And we go to our configuration file and we copy the fake username. There we go, and the fake password. This should probably work if we have one function called RPC, which does the heavy lifting. It does the RPC call, remote procedure call. And then we invoke it with the list address by assets. So this will probably work. Let's try it out. Node index. Yes. In this case, we use list addresses by assets, meaning that we list all the addresses that contains beer tokens. But in our example, we want to say list my assets. And you see, nice. So now we get just our bear tokens. Okay, what do we have now? We have a Node.js script that lists our assets. Done. That was not many minutes. Let's now do the next stuff. Let's create a web application. Same thing, initialize it with as a default npm package. And in this case we want to use Parcel to build and instead of Webpack, and we want to use React. So we say npm install React, React DOM and Parcel. This will take a couple of minutes. So while we are downloading the dependencies that we need to build our web app, let's open up the web browser and go to Google to create a new Firebase app. So you go to firebasegoogle.com, go to the console, create a project. Oh, naming things is always the worst. So we just name it ASDF. And we hit continue. No, we do not want Google Analytics. And we will soon have a project. Now we can take a sip of coffee. We shouldn't drink coffee because it's like 11, almost midnight. But in these horrible times when crypto markets is crashing, it's like you can drink coffee whenever you want. It's okay. By the way, it's the 19th of May, so it's the crypto market crash day. So now we have our project. Nice. We now have a project in Firebase. Firebase lets us store information, and it supports WebSockets and shit, so it's very, very fast if your web application communicates with Firebase. So our Node script here that we were running that told us that we have 50 beer tokens, this one, will send the information to Firebase, and your web application will listen to events from Firebase, and your web application will be notified when something changes. Nice, we have this. How do we do? And what shall we do now? We should, of course, create a database. I usually go for the real-time database, which is the older database. I don't know why, because maybe that's the only thing I know. Create database. Here we can choose United States or Belgium. Let's use Belgium. So our Ravencoin full node will be in Sweden and the Firebase data store in Belgium. Yes, let's go locked mode. Blah, blah, blah. Nice. Now we have a cloud database. Doesn't contain any information at all. So we can just add something. Let's add Elvis. Should have the value Presley. Now we have something in our data store. We have Elvis set to Presley. This is the URL, and you can use JSON, and it sets up all the access control stuff for web, so you can use it with cores. So we can say .elvis. If you append .elvis on the URL, then Firebase will respond with JSON. Permission denied, of course. And that is because we have rules in our database. So we must say, what can users read, what can they write? We say everyone can read everything. So very not so secure, but very effective. We've published the rules, and now we should be able to, Presley, right? Now we can navigate the value Presley. So the database is working. And this is working. Let's go back to the web app. Have we installed our dependencies? Yes, we have. So in our web application, where we just installed React, React DOM and Firebase, we also installed Parcel. Parcel is a builder that takes care of TypeScript and all that nasty stuff. So we can just create a index HTML file. We can also create a index.tsx TypeScript. And in our super simple HTML file, we can create a HTML document, and we can also in the JavaScript we can say console.log Elvis, and from the HTML file we create a script source equals index.tsx. Looks a bit different, I know. Parcel will take care of all the dependencies. So Parcel will now build our web app, and it understands that, hey guys, you are referring to a JavaScript called index.tsx. It will build that file, and you will see. Let's go to the command. Here we can type npx parcel index.html. Parcel will now do all the fancy stuff to build it. It's now up and running on port 1234. Let's go to localhost. Here we go, Elvis. It's working. And we can see that Parcel compiled our code into this JavaScript for us. Very nice. So you see zero configuration, no config, not like Webpack and stuff. We don't like config. We want to build proof of concepts and stuff. Should be fast. Okay, so now we're up and running. Let's now on our web page display information from Firebase. How do we do that? Well, we go to Firebase, project settings, and we go to this icon symbolizes web, my web app, OSDF, register. Nice. Now we have some code that we should use in our web app. We will use it via Node, but we can start with this. Sorry guys. Here we go. So here we have some shit, and I think this is all we need to initiate Firebase. Let's go to our web application. There we go. And let's check if we have an object called Firebase. No, it's not. There's something strange with this. I don't like this way of setting up. I actually think you can do something like this. Yeah, what? No. Anyway, we will not use this. We will use npm to install Firebase. So let's see, Firebase npm or Firebase read data. Firebase read data. What do we do? Get started. Ha, wait a minute. We should use the Firebase npm. Maybe they have documented it here. Oh man. Okay, let's do this. So, and then we in our code we use this. I don't know if okay, this will be the one. So we go to our code in, we can close this one. In the web app we go to this is not installed yet. It will soon be. Oh, there it is. Did I install it in the, yeah, in the web app, right? Now we have this is the setting we want. So we should initialize the app with Firebase config. Looking good. And let's remove this. npx parcel index.html. Super nice. It's building. Now we want to read data from our this is the app. I think you can do. Let's see how they tell us to read data from web apps. Okay, so we should probably use the Firebase.database. Firebase initialize app. What the fuck is app? Is app the same thing as database? Or have they done something fancy? Or is that the same as app.firebase? Here we go. I think it's the database we want. Here we go. So we probably do I didn't like that. Wait a minute. I wish that Firebase had better examples. Like it's typical for Google to only have partial examples that are not fully working. But so let's say it's the. Here we go. Now working. I think this is the syntax. So you get the database, you reference the, in our case, /Elvis on value change. We get a snapshot of the data and we print out the value. So if this works, then this guy, Presley. We did get the data. So what we can do is like document.body.inner.html equals data. What happens if we do that? Types out Presley. So nice. Okay. Now we have built the web app that is listening to information from Firebase, right? So let's set up our server so that which one should we, okay, let's start with the server stuff. In this case, the little server thing we have, what does it do? It lists my asset and it prints it out, right? You remember? We did okay, now we want this script to instead of writing to the console, it should write this data to Google Firebase. So here we want to talk to Google Firebase. How do we do that? Well, we first have to install something called Firebase Admin. And Firebase Admin will need a certificate and some configuration from Firebase. So while this is done, installing the dependencies, we go back to Firebase. And I think it's on the project settings. It might be service account. And here it says, I love this. It's a full example. I love it. This is the code we're going to run. And we have to generate a new private key. Super simple, super dangerously. We call it asdf.json. Save. Okay. So we copy this code. We go back to our server, and we add some code that will install Firebase, require Firebase. It should read the, it requires the service account, which we placed in the same directory, so it's ./asdf.json, initialize the app, and now admin is our handle to Firebase. So what we want to do on row 22 and 24, instead of printing this one to console, we want to send this data to Google. So we do Firebase Node.js write data. Saving data. This is what we want to do. We love it. What a nice example. So we have initialized Firebase. We have the we get the database, and we should reference something. We can call it. Should we call it beer tokens? Okay, let's do this. Let's call it my assets. My assets. And we can say ref set, and we just set the data that we got. And so we are listing my assets, and in our case it's just a beer token, but could be more. And when we have listed the assets, we send this one to Google Firebase, and this is what we do. Let's run this example and see if it works. I think we have to await. This is an asynchronous operation, so we might not be able to write it if we just do it like this. If we do async, await, we have to do that, I think. Let's try. What the fuck? Were we not able to install this? Shameful. Is it because we are running the server at the same time? Let's do it again. Let's again install Firebase Admin. We don't care, because we are going to focus on the web. What did we just do? We installed the Firebase Admin again. Okay. Aha, we did not save. We saved the configuration file one step up in the directory tree. It's so lovely to have no outputs. We have no idea what happens. Let's head over to Google Firebase to the console, and we should now see that if we not write it. My assets, here it is, beer token, lovely. So now, how long was this? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Now we have code that talks to our server, or Raven full node. And we also have code that updates Google Firebase with this information. Now we want to display this information on the web page, right? And we probably want to, in the server code, we also say process.exit. Let's exit operation when it's done, because so when we run this code, then this is all it takes to ask for my assets and to update 5. Let's do it again. Boop, ready. Okay. Now we have the mpx parcel index.html. We start our web app again. And this one is running, and it types in Presley. It looks like shite. We can make this a little bit more appealing. So we install we have a style sheet, and we can say that the body, just give sometimes it's confusing what okay, just to be sure, let's restart it. Why does it not? So weird. What is it doing? Why is it because I read? Okay, because my idiotic example const div document create element div document body append child div. We we did overwrite the body element, so we screwed up the style sheet. Now we have at least some styling. It's hot pink, and let's make the font size 200%. Starting to look like something. No, it doesn't. But anyway, let's make a. We can just create a div, and we call it app. This will be where we place the web stuff, and we can say that app has a max width of 500 pixels. It has a margin auto, which will place it in the middle, and we have so, and then our script should when we are here just listening on data from Firebase, but let's make a real application. So we do import React from React, import React DOM from React DOM. So nice. And we do function app return div Elvis just to make it work, and we say React DOM render app, and we render to document get element by ID app. So in this case we should render the word Elvis app to this app, and it does. Whee! Elvis app. We could also say that our app has a background that is white. It has a mean height of, let's say, 500 pixels. It can have a border radius of about 20. A bit nicer, a bit nicer. Padding 50, looking better. At least it's still sucky, but the purpose of this video is just to make something easy. Okay, Elvis. We should have a list of what we want is my assets, right? We're going to display my assets. And we will probably have a table head, we have the amount and the asset name, and we make a body with here we will iterate. So if we have any assets, we will iterate here. So now we should see, yeah, we have an empty table. My assets, asset name, and asset amount. Let's do like this. This is React, so you have to understand React to understand what I now will do. What I'm doing is a React component, a functional component, and it will use the hook React use effect to add this as a listener, and when this changes, we will update the state in this app. So we say, okay, start with the state, const my assets, set my assets, picking a React use state null. Good, now we have state. Now we need to have the listen to events from Firebase. So we do react.use effect, and this is an arrow function, and we only want to run this once. Use effects in React will be invoked on lots of stuff. Will invoke it, but we can send in an argument, an array saying, so what are we listening to, and we send in an empty array, which means that run this code once. We don't want to append multiple listeners. That would be crazy. So now we have a code that will run when this app starts. So we say this is what we want. Here we go. So listen to my assets, and when my assets changes, we get data, and then we should update the state set my assets data. Okay. This means that my assets will be updated every time something happens in Firebase. And we should now, in the list of my assets, we should I don't remember the syntax for the data that we get from Firebase, so I will start with some Norwegian debugging, which is you use console.log. So let's run. Okay, so we set my assets to my data, and we log out data, and you see that we get beer tokens. Nice. And we get beer tokens as an object. So when we print this, let's do this, const r equals let's do object.keys, get all the keys from this assets, and we do map my assets, and let's return my assets key. That will give us an array where each object, we just turning the object into an array. And let's do this. We say r.map function asset for each array, return. First we have the asset dot, what was it called? Is it let's do some more Norwegian debugging. See what we get. Let's remove this. Let's return so now we have bear tokens, and in case we okay, the array contains the word 50. It wasn't 50 that we wanted. We want to return an object with key equals the value of key. So now we get an object, an array with objects where we have name equals key, and amount equals okay, name, amount, nice. Let's give it a better name, assets, and we return a new row with asset.name and with asset.amount, and the key should be asset.name. Nice. You see what we did? Now we have a table with it doesn't look so nice, so we can use, for example, CSS Bootstrap. Let's get some theme, because this is an example, and now we have downloaded Bootstrap, which gives us some totally, it's okay styling. For this demo it's okay. And then we can say class name equals table, and all of a sudden our table looks like a table. Nicer. Good. So now we have we update the server. We have a web client showing my assets, and important things to point out here is that the web page is only talking to Firebase. The web page does not. The web client doesn't know anything about our full node. So our full node can be located anywhere. Let's now say that some coffee. Let's say that we want to configure the wallet so that it runs event driven, right? We want to go in and say that whenever things happen in wherever there is a new block or wherever something happens in the wallet, let's run a script. So in our case, it's okay with just block notify. It's okay. So what do we want? Well, we can create a batch file which says npm node index, right? We make a batch file which will do, okay, it will change directory to C demo server, and it will change directory to server, and then it will run the node script in the server, right? And then we can say, okay, now we have the batch file in demo server, so we say block notify, go to C demo server osdev.batch. This %1 is an argument that, so in this case it doesn't matter, but in wallet notify, this would be the ID of the transaction that entered your mempool that has to do with your wallet. So this we could have done something like this and have a script that as an argument gets the ID of the transaction, if that is something you want to have. Let's not do this now. Just go block notify. That's okay for this demo. We have to restart the server so it understands about it's 11:45. That's why I made the run once error in React. I would never do it daytime. Let's see. So we are loading the wallet. I hope we didn't mess things up. Should be quick. Why is everything happening to me right now when I'm recording a video? I don't know. I'm a victim. Oh. I get offended. Nice. So let's see what happens the next time. We can, for example, go to Firebase. Here we go. What you saw there, you see the blinky. That was our wallet kicking off this script. We can actually do this. We can go in the batch file. We can add pause, so it will stop, so we can see the window. So the next time our Ravencoin wallet will trigger this script, the command prompt window will stay. Let's go to our console and let's change the value to something faulty. We know it should be 50, so we know that when let's add it to 31, right? Here we go. And now it's 50 again. Why is it 50? Because our script has updated our, let's set it to 4. Where is our web app? Now it's the web app is running here. Why does it do this? And here's the web app. And here is Firebase. And the plan is that this one should listen to any update. So it should be 50 now because it's 50. But if we change it to 502, ooh, did you see that? This is kind of funny because we are updating the Firebase database in Belgium. We are sitting in Stockholm on our local server, and it immediately gets this 51. So we set it to 800 beer tokens. It's crazy. Nice. We will soon see the blinky stuff, which means that our Ravencoin wallet has notified us of a new block and update our amount, the amount from the Ravencoin wallet. This is a simple example. That's why we only use the block notify. If you want to go, you can take this and create an example on steroids, which we have done on. We have a demo site called fast.ravenrebels.com, where you can see updates in real time. But here comes the next block. Ooh, did you see? Now we have 50. So now it's synchronized. This is what our wallet will tell us, how many coins we have. So you see it working, and we know that if you have wallet notify, you have even more events coming. So we have used this in our demo, fast.ravenrebels.com. It was kind of nice. We had some debate about this on Twitter. I like that. This demo, fast.ravenrebels.com, is a demo where you can, if you send something to this address, it will immediately be shown on screen. And in this scenario, the context that we describe here is that, let's say some kids sell lemonade and they want the customers to pay with Raven, or maybe they have issued their own Ravencoin token. The kids don't want to wait like 1, 2, 3 minutes per customer. They just want to keep them lemonades coming. And so for them it might be okay to just see that, hey, something happened. So I can showcase this at the same time. If I open up my iPhone and I say that I want to send something to this address. I scan the code, and let's send 1 Ravencoin to this address. Wait. Look at the screen here. Here we send it. And here you say pending transaction. You can see that there's a transaction coming in. That's because we use the wallet notify instead of using, as we do right now, instead of instead of using block notify, we use the wallet notify, which kicks in each time something happens in your wallet. That's why we can do it blazingly fast. Here we can also click here and check confirmations and say that this is not yet confirmed. What does it mean? Well, the transaction is in the mempool of our full node, which means that our full node has validated the transaction, which means that it doesn't break any of the rules. It's a valid transaction. Valid transaction is not the same thing as confirmed. A transaction is confirmed when a miner has validated and added this transaction to a block. And each time there is a new block added on top of that block, that means that you get extra confirmations. So 3 confirmation means confirmation 1 was that it's added to a block. 3 confirmations means that there are 2 more blocks above that block. Each block makes it more and more safe. So if you sell something with value, you want to wait for at least 6 confirmations, at least. And that takes like 6 minutes. You can't sell chewing gum or lemonade and wait 6 minutes per customer. It doesn't work like that. So it's risk reward, right? It's highly unlikely that you will not get the money, but it can be done. But I mean, if you're selling something, like if you have a public transportation with a bus or something, you want 80 people to enter the bus within 20 seconds. You can't wait to confirm all. You have to have think about, is it worth the risk that maybe someone is doing something fancy? Anyway, so here you have seen that you can make this like really quick if you want to. And on this example, we showed that we now have a website which displays our number of tokens. Of course, we can do this. Let's take this address to this demo. And we see that we have 50 beer tokens. Let's send a beer token from this wallet to this example. How do we do that? We open up the debug in the Ravencoin wallet, and we want to transfer. So we say help transfer. How do we do this? Well, we do transfer, name of the asset, quantity, and 2. So we say transfer beer token. The example will get 7 beer tokens. Unbelievable. 2. What address? Well, we send it to this address. So now we sent it, and here we have it. 7 beer tokens coming in. Very nice. And our example is updated. Now we only have 43 beer tokens because we sent 7 beer tokens. Okay, guys, so this was it, and let's use Notepad to summarize everything. You run a full node Ravencoin, and you have to change the settings to server mode and index transactions, assets, and stuff. So think about that. You need to download it, yes, and then you remember that, hey, I need to change the settings because I can't use it as it is. I have to add some spiciness to it. Then you need to have Node.js for the server scripting, and you use Google. Oh, I get all those prompts. Google Firebase as a data store middleware, because it's data store, yes, but it's also a JSON restified web server which has a WebSockets API to give you real-time capabilities, right? And then you have your web app dash web page, and there you can use JavaScript API from Firebase. And these things together creates magic moments with the Ravencoin. And the thing is that you can use FTP or whatever you want to upload this website to anywhere. it will work. And one important thing to point out is that our node that we're running is of course on the public network because it talks to other nodes, otherwise it couldn't validate transactions. But it's not exposed as a web server. So when you go to the person who goes to your web app has no clue where your wallet is. No clue. You can set it up anywhere in the world. There is no direct link between the web user, the end user, and your full node. So here we go. Here we have a basic setups for this. And if you like this video, please leave a like on YouTube. And please comment if you want to do that. And you can also check out our example on fast.ravenrebels.com. It's very fun to see all the craziness we get here. Yeah, that's a thing also. Ravencoin assets might contain a forward slash. And a forward slash is not valid in as a key in Firebase. So in this example, we had to, in the server, the node script that updated Firebase, we just replaced this character with a pipe character or any characters. And then we replaced it again in the web side server because this created a bug. So it will be fun if you go here. So like and subscribe. And I think we have we now have 69 subscribers on our 5, and we have 5 videos. Whee! So if you like the content, please subscribe, please like and comment. If you want to see more videos, if you have tips or ideas about what to do, please let us know. That was it, guys. Oh, it's exactly midnight. It's so time to go to bed. We have to work tomorrow. Okay, see you guys. Peace.